Hey guys, welcome back to No More Cavities. Today we are discussing about dental waxes. So what are waxes? Waxes are actually thermoplastic type of material that can be either solid and can also melt. They can be solid at room temperature and they can melt without decomposing into liquid. So, they are soft substance with poor mechanical properties, and the primary use of wax is to form patrons. Patrons is the primary use of waxes. And what is patron? Patron defines the shape and size of the resulting appliance. The shape and size of resulting appliance that we want to form. So what we do, if we want to form any type of appliance, first we form the patron. For example, we want to form a major connector, which is a part or component of RPD, and this is our denture. And this is our metallic framework. So before formation of metallic framework, we will form the wax patron of it, of the adequate shape and size to know that what area and what shape will be covered by this wax, and then we will convert this into the major connector, which is the metallic framework. If we discuss about the composition of wax, then wax basically contains three substances. The first is basically natural waxes, which is the major component of wax. The second is additives, and the third is synthetic wax. So, natural wax contain other four things, which are minerals, animals, insects, and vegetables. While the additives contain oil, fats, resin, and pigments. And synthetic waxes contain different type of waxes which are formed synthetically, such as polyethylene wax. These all components have different type of function and different type of contribution in waxes. If we discuss about minerals, then minerals are actually petroleum residues, and there are two type of waxes which we get from minerals. The one is paraffin and the other is microcrystalline wax. Both waxes come from minerals. And what are minerals? Minerals are the petroleum residues. So first, the paraffin wax. Paraffin wax is simple and a straight chain of hydrocarbon, while the microcrystalline is not straight, it is branched chain of hydrocarbon. Then the paraffin wax soften it between 37 degree to 55 centigrade and melt at 48 to 70 degree, but it is brittle at room temperature. Then the microcrystalline wax, which melts between 65 to 90 degree. Then microcrystalline wax are added actually in paraffin wax. Why? To increase paraffin wax melting point and to render the material less brittle. As we discussed that paraffin wax is brittle. So what we do, we add microcrystalline wax into the paraffin wax to overcome the brittleness and to increase the melting point. The second component are animals. There are some waxes that we get from animals, such as the beeswax, and beeswax come from honeycomb. Beeswax are actually a crystalline natural polyester. And the beeswax are also added into the paraffin wax to make it less brittle and reduce the extent to which it flows under stress. So, what does beeswax do? They decrease the brittleness of paraffin waxes and they also control the flow of paraffin waxes. Third component is vegetables. Two types of waxes are derived from vegetables and they are carnauba wax, lila wax. These are derived from trees and plants. And they are also blended with paraffin wax to control the softening temperature of paraffin wax. We were adding microcrystalline wax, we were adding beeswax to overcome the brittleness, and to overcome the softening temperature we are adding candelilla wax or carnauba wax. The second component of wax were additives. There are different additives added in the dental wax such as resins, oil, color, fats. These all have their particular function. So what does resins do? The resins increase the toughness, the hardness and the melting point. Then what does the fats do? Fats also increase the melting point and the hardness. And colors are to give different pigments to the wax. We blend these additives to the natural wax to produce the required properties. There are different requirements of waxes, such as it should confirm the exact shape and size of appliances. As the basic usage of the wax is to form pattern of an appliance that we will form, that will convert to an alloy or a framework. So the wax that we are using should confirm the exact shape and size of the appliance. No dimensional changes should occur. As it is a soft material, it can be very smoothly melted or converted in a liquid form as we increase the temperature. So there should be minimal dimensional changes or no dimensional changes at all. And then it should be easy to remove the wax by burning and boiling. Now we will be discussing different types of dental waxes. There are basically main three types of dental waxes. The first is processing waxes. Processing wax is used as auxiliary aids in construction of variety of restoration and appliances. The second is impression waxes. Impression waxes used to take the impression of oral structures. And the third is pattern waxes. Pattern wax used to form predetermined size and contour of artificial dental restorations. They are further divided into different types, such as the processing wax is further divided into boxing wax. Boxing wax is used to build up the vertical walls around the impression in order to pour the gypsum material. Carding wax. Carding wax is used to attach the denture teeth to display sheet. Utility wax. Utility wax can be used to alter the stock tray extensions. And then sticky wax. Sticky wax is used to align the fractured part of acrylic dentures. It is used to align fixed partial denture units before soldering. Then impression waxes. Impression waxes are also of two types, such as bite registration wax.
Bite registration wax is used to record the relationship of upper and lower teeth in dentilless patients.
And then corrective wax.
Corrective wax used as a wax veneer over an original impression to contact and register the detail of soft tissue.
Patron wax. Patron wax is also divided into three types of waxes such as inlay wax,
Inlay wax pattern. Inlay wax pattern are used for inlays. They can be produced by either direct technique and indirect technique. In direct technique, the wax patterns are formed directly in the mouth. Indirect technique, the wax patterns are formed on the die.
Basically, the inlay waxes are also of two types. Type 1 which is soft and type 2 which is hard. Type 1 is used for direct technique and type 2 is used for indirect technique. Type 1 is used for inlays, pontics and crown, while type 2 is for formation of inlay and crowns. These both are different basically due to their flow value. And the type 2 and type 1 come in the form of sticks and cones. Casting wax.
Casting wax is used to form the pattern of metallic framework of RPD.
And base plate wax. Base plate wax is also called as modeling wax.
Base plate wax is also called as modeling wax. It is used mainly in preparing wax pattern for prosthesis.
The modeling wax is again divided into different types, and these are type 1, type 2 and type 3. So what is type 1, 2 and 3? Type 1 is actually a soft wax. Type 2 is actually hard wax. And type 3 is extra hard. Type 1 is used for building contours and veneers in the lab. While type 2 is used to make patrons. And type 3 which is used in warmer climates. Type 1 is basically hard at room temperature and soft at mouth temperature, while type 2 and 3 they soften and distort if left in mouth for more than few minutes. The modeling wax is basically combination of paraffin wax and beeswax. The different properties of modeling wax include the melting point, which is in the range of 49 to 58 centigrade, and it is supplied in the sheet form as we saw in the picture. The sheet form is actually softened by a water bath. Why are we using water bath? Because it enables to control the thickness, because thickness of wax will control denture thickness. The wax should be tough enough to resist the fracture. Sometimes the modeling wax form a temporary denture base, and these temporary denture base formed by modeling wax are actually prone to distortion. So what we do, we form the denture bases by shellac. What is shellac? Shellac is actually wax like resin. Which is stable at mouth temperature, and it is used to construct the denture base. Properties of wax. The first we are discussing is thermal property. Consider that this is the crystalline structure of wax. heat that wax, there will be a peak endothermic reaction, and this will be less than the melting point. The point or the peak where this is the less than melting point, it means melting point has not occurred yet. This indicates solid-solid transition temperature. Now, what is solid-solid transition temperature? It is a temperature in which the change in crystalline structure occur. Change in crystalline structure. The solid-solid temperature not only changed the crystalline structure, but it also changed the mechanical structure. Changing the mechanical structure and converting the brittle wax into moldable or softer. That's why this is called as solid-solid transition temperature, because it changed the brittle wax to a softer wax. The temperature of wax should be greater than the mouth temperature, so it should be rigid in the mouth when we insert it in mouth. But the waxes are poor thermal conductor. Waxes have high coefficient of thermal expansion. That's why they contract on cooling and melt on heating. Waxes also undergo dimensional changes. And these changes should be 0.8% expansion on heating from 25 centigrade to 40 centigrade. This is ISO specified dimensional change. If the wax is not softening, then we provide greater stresses to soften the wax. There are different methods to soften the wax. The first is water bath. The water bath basically provides regular softening. The second is infrared lamp. The third is Bunsen burner. The ideal method of softening a wax is wax annealer. And what is a wax annealer? It is basically a thermostatically present oven which keeps the wax at a regular temperature just above the softening temperature. There are different mechanical properties of wax. The first that we will discuss is flow value. What is a flow value? Flow value means that greater deformation occur at smaller stress and the deformation occur very rapidly. So the stresses are small but the deformation is large. Flow basically determines the stability of wax and moldability of wax. Flow increases when the melting point increases. The second mechanical property is that waxes contain low modulus of elasticity, low proportional limit, and decreased compressive strength. So, the flow should be considerable at the molding temperature, but it should be little at the mouth temperature. This was all about dental waxes. Thanks for watching.